now please welcome to the stage Oliver Turan and Lynn Allen.
Hello. Wow,
It's always weird announcing yourself to the stage.
It is. You're the voice of God. That's fabulous. Hey, welcome, welcome, welcome. Are you guys disappointed that Sophia's not here? No, I know. Like,
a little creepy, right?
Heck no, we're not disappointed at all. Yeah, so, yeah, she was pretty demanding. She wanted her own dressing box and everything. But I had a lot of people come up to me and I'm making noise. What is it? What is it? Sorry.
There we go, that's better.
I fixed it. Oh. Don't move.
Yeah, whatever you do, don't move.
Don't move.
Sophia's watching you right back there.
Oh, my God. Oh, wait, we're going to switch it? Oh, now I'm a stand-up comedian. Awesome. All right. Hello, hello. Did you turn this one off? On. Okay? All right. Much better. All right. So a lot of people were asking yesterday, we came out on the stage and we were cracking up, what we were cracking up about. And that's because we were supposed to have a little bit of... What is it? Did you turn this one off? Off? On? What's happening right now?
I don't think so.
Is it you?
It's never me. It's always you.
So we were supposed to have a little bit of repartee between, me and Sophia. Then she stepped on my line, and so that's why we were cracking up. I'm like, it was.
It still kind of fit, but yeah.
Yeah, it did kind of fit. She stepped on my line. So never share the stage with children or robots, right? That was the takeaway.
Yeah.
So did you guys go see Sophia in the exhibit hall? Yeah. Yeah.
One guy clapping, all right.
One guy? No, did you go? Okay, so here's my question. Cool or creepy? Creepy, yeah. Did you get, right? And that laugh, right? Right? So did you notice that yesterday, not a single presenter went past this line? Did you guys notice that? We all were on this half of it, because that was clearly Sophia/Annabelle's side of the stage, right? Right? And she also made the comment that her goal was to be, a companion for the seniors.
Yeah.
Like what killed Grandma? I don't know. She woke up and saw Sophia at the edge of the bed, is what I'm thinking, right? Definitely. So, no Sophia today, and I'm okay with that. And it looks like you guys are too, right? So, on that note, he's worried because we have a lot to talk about today, and I'm going on and on and on.
No, it's cool. It's cool.
So anyway,
no,
what do we have going on today? Tell us.
We have a lot of great keynote speakers today as well. So welcome to the second day of Midwest U.
A lot of good speakers today.
Yeah. We have Shane Scranton from IrisVR. He's one of our exhibitors, if you've had a chance to check out his booth. He also had a great class yesterday that had really great feedback. So we look forward to his presentation. We also have Reeti and Vicki. They're here from HKS. If you remember, HKS was actually one of our keynote presenters last year as well, and they highlighted the US Bank Stadium project here in Minneapolis, obviously.
Very cool.
And we're so excited about their topic this year. They're really doing some awesome things from a business analytics standpoint and model analytics. We wanted to have them on stage. And then we'll welcome out Brian and Sean from CTC as well. One of the things we always like to do, and we'll kind of do this quick with you guys as well, is show you some of the stuff we've been working on. And specifically, you might have noticed a lot of the CTC employees wearing those Hive t-shirts last night. So we want to make an announcement as far as what is Hive, and we kind of have an exciting offer and opportunity for you guys around that as well that we'll talk later on in the show about. So we look forward to this.
Mysterious. I like it.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to get to introduce to you our very first speaker, Mr. Shane Scranton. So he is the CEO and co-founder of IrisVR, a company that's using AR and VR to improve design review and communication in AEC. Shane's an architect by training, and he founded IrisVR back in 2014. IrisVR is the very first company to develop VR software specifically for AEC workflows, and since their founding, they've helped thousands of users in the US and abroad deploy VR in the office and on the job site. So Shane's been recognized as a leader in virtual reality from outlets such as Forbes and Bloomberg and Wired. He's a big star, and we're really fortunate to have him here today.
Absolutely. And Shane, welcome to the stage, and thanks for coming to Midwest U.
Give him a big round of applause, please.
Good morning. Thank you, CTC, for having me. I'm really excited to be here on stage, and hopefully we'll get the morning off to an easy start. I know it's early. We'll talk about VR and AR and MR and all types of R. We're going to call this immersive computing. we are sort of running out of acronyms. So probably the easiest thing to do is just call it immersive computing and get on with it. So I'm going to start with some context where IrisVR comes from, give some context about our background, what we're working on, and then we'll get into talking about some trends we've seen with VR and AR in the space and some of the most interesting stuff, where we're heading, where we think immersive computing is going, and how you guys can prepare for the future of immersive computing. So IrisVR is a software company. A bunch of us are from architecture. We went over to the dark side of technology about 4 years ago, and we're now in New York City. We have 25 people, and we're working with architecture and construction firms all over the world. And our focus has been on how do we take design review and coordination workflows into VR and make that really a seamless process. VR is, of course, a brand new medium. There's a lot of technology out there for enabling VR and really making it accessible in the architecture and construction space. We've been focused on how do we take that and make it really seamless in people's day-to-day workflows in the office and on the job site. And quite a lot of our focus has been on actually more of the people not in this room, the people that aren't the technologists. How do people that are working day-to-day in firms that aren't necessarily comfortable with technology, how do we make this a really accessible medium for them to start using their work in VR and make it really simple? And the reason we're doing this is VR is a spatial medium. I'm sure a lot of you guys have tried various headsets, and the first thing that really stands out is that it is a true sense of scale, a true sense of space, and it's something that no other medium has really been able to do up to this point, of being able to stand in something that's not built and really feel like you're there and feel like it's a true sense of scale. That's something that we got really excited about back in 2014, and it's something that really unlocks a lot on the project and on the job site. And specifically, we've seen that it makes your clients happy, it improves client engagement. If a client is confused about something or they're not really sure what the design intent is, being able to put the goggles on and have them actually look around and see the space can really speed up that conversation, get their buy-in, and have that conversation move on. We've also seen that it's really helpful for a streamlined design review, especially even if the client's not in the room, with teams that are working on different design options, trying to communicate different design ideas, iterate through those ideas. Being able to do that in a streamlined way in VR can really be effective and save some time. More recently, we've seen that as VR has become more established in firms, it has also moved into the QA/QC realm, especially in terms of checking model quality and level of detail. As people are going into VR and walking through Revit models or walking through SketchUp or Rhino models, being able to actually be like, that table is floating 3 inches off the ground, or that pipe's sticking through the wall, seeing that in a true to scale way is really an effective way to make edits and catch errors. And we wouldn't be here without growing with our customers. We've been doing this for about 4 years, and we've worked with architecture, construction, engineering firms. The unifying trait among all these guys is they've pretty much switched from 2D to 3D, and now are moving from 3D into VR. And 2D drawings do not work in VR, so most of the folks we work with are focused primarily on 3D workflows and getting those into immersive technologies. So that's our context. And as I was preparing this talk, it's a really good time for us to give this presentation because we just hit our 4-year anniversary as a company. And this was about 2 days ago, we hit 4 years that we incorporated. And that's a big deal for me as a startup founder, because most startups by the books don't make it 4 years. And I hope we have many more anniversaries, and making it 4 years is a really big deal for a startup. And in that time, we've had a chance to see VR come from just an idea to having these startups really start developing these headsets to now it really being mass produced and available to everyone. And in that time, we've really seen it evolve over a couple different development kits and into prime time where it is today. So I went into the archives, I found some photos. This was our first architecture demo back in 2014 with a very old headset. It was terrible in retrospect. It really made everyone really sick. And it still communicated a sense of space though, so it was able to build some momentum, but I'm happy we've gone away from this. This is our first trade show at AIA. And then this was Sean, who's speaking later. This was his first VR demo at RTC in 2014. And as we were giving these demos and as we started showing VR to people in the space, we really got the sense that AEC is the early adopter of virtual reality. And you can see that I quoted myself here because I said that a lot, and I was totally making it up. We had no idea if that was actually the case, if VR was actually the leader, if AEC was actually the leader in VR. But as we were giving these demos and as we started seeing the industry engage with virtual reality, it felt like this was really a medium that was going to take off in this space. And it's funny because at that time in 2014, as we were talking about virtual reality and we started talking about it in architecture and in construction, the media was not. Most of the focus was on gaming, and it still is on gaming. Virtual reality is made for gamers, it's made by gamers. Most of the technology under the hood is gaming related. And it's been interesting to see, as VR has evolved, a very strong focus on the consumer market. And now we are asking, 4 years later, how much are gamers actually using VR? And I absolutely love this Adobe stock photo. It was the top choice for me as I searched for gamers. I actually think he has a phone just Velcroed to his face. I don't think there's actually a headset there. And it gets better the longer you look at it. So I recommend searching for some of these. So, the games that have come up for VR are pretty awesome. I recommend trying some of them on the headsets in your office. And a lot of these games are running off of a platform that does track usage and is available to the public. So as we were preparing this talk, we went through and pulled some usage data from various games in VR, and we're going to compare it to what we've seen in AEC as well. So Rick and Morty, it's a TV show. They have a great VR experience. But you can see that even the heaviest users aren't going beyond like 15, 20 hours total using this game. And on average, they're at about 5 hours. Tilt Brush, which is an amazing experience for painting in space and being able to actually like sculpt things around you. It's really exciting for artists in the crowd, and it's really catering to the creative market. Again, they have a sort of small subset of folks that are using it a ton, 100 or 200 hours total. But on average, we're still seeing, in total, these consumers using it about 8 hours on average. And then last, we picked a AAA, really high-quality video game that is called Fallout. They were very popular games on the PC, and then they moved over to VR, and it's a full-fledged game with a storyline, and you can put 100, 200 hours into it. But again, in VR, we're seeing that the average is about 7 hours that gamers actually engage with this technology. And so you can see where I'm going with this. As we pull these numbers, it is still very obvious that gamers are treating VR as the new technology that it is. They're really testing what can be used, and it's very much the early days of this technology. So we were really excited as we started pulling these numbers. We pulled numbers from our own usage, we pulled numbers from some of our colleagues, and we found that AEC is really tracking on a totally different trajectory than gamers are in terms of engaging with immersive technology and VR. We had to check these numbers a couple times because we were really blown away that there are some people out there that are in total putting the headset on clients over 2,000 hours. That is a lot of time in VR over a year and a half. And the average is about 110 hours, which is, again, way more than what we've seen in any games. And that also breaks down to, on average, about 3 hours a week with the headset running in the office. And that is astounding to us because that is a lot of time with virtual reality running and someone having it strapped to their face. And of course, we're asking now, why is this industry using it so much more? I think for us, it's a fairly easy answer in that gaming and a lot of the consumer technology still sees VR as potentially a gimmick, as potentially something that is really new in this industry, and they're still testing it out. And AEC has switched very quickly into VR being a tool, and a work tool that can communicate one-to-one scale and communicate one-to-one space. And the second we see someone sort of make that leap into VR as a tool, usage is driven, there's retention, and people start engaging with it more. And this leads us to something that's very exciting for me, which is that this audience and AEC in general is the pioneers of immersive technology. And not just within this industry, but really among any industry that we could find, AEC is really leading the charge with virtual reality and defining a lot of those precedents. They're using it more frequently and longer than anyone else we could find. And as you guys know, this is not typical for AEC. What is typical is being behind on digitization. It is spending less on IT as a percentage of revenue than most other industries. And it is pretty clear that AEC with VR is really driving a different trend. This is from our numbers. We didn't get this from anyone else, but since 2017, we've had over 100,000 VR experiences created on our platform and spanning over 105 countries. And that is usage that we weren't expecting, and it certainly defines quite a lot in this industry around how VR is being used. So that's the retrospective. And I want to wrap up talking about where VR is going and where immersive computing is going, because there's a lot of exciting things coming down the line, and hopefully I can add some clarity to what's coming next. Good news is not this. Again, stock photos are helping me out here. We are not going to be sitting with laptops on a bench with some clunky headset reaching out into the clouds. These headsets are going to be much more streamlined and much lighter weight. The trends that we're seeing are broken down by essentially computing platforms. So I broke this chart down by desktop headsets. So those are the ones that run on a PC, and you need a really high-performance PC to run these experiences. There's mobile headsets, which you put your smartphone into a case, and then you can put it up to your face and look around, and those are usually lighter weight headsets. And then sort of a new bucket, which is standalone headsets, and those don't require a PC. Those don't require any mobile device. Those run fully on their own. And some of you have probably tried the HoloLens. That's an example of a standalone device. And as you can see, we started really on the desktop side. A lot of you are probably used to this. The headsets came out, you needed a high-performance PC, and that was the Oculus Rift or the HTC Vive. Those are continuing to evolve, but now we are trending towards, in 2018 and 2019, really the rise of standalone headsets. That's the Magic Leap, that's the Google Mirage. There's a whole bunch coming out. I'm not going to go through them all, but we're shifting away from the need for a computer or a mobile phone and having these headsets self-contained. And as this trend continues, we see a future where really the end form factor is a standalone device that looks a lot like this. It's hard to imagine this because right now when you look at VR, you look at AR, the headsets are clunky and they're huge. But as we look at the trends over the last couple of years, we're going to end up with something like this that people are used to wearing on the job site and in the office. So I'm going to leave you with a few trends. These are ones that we're seeing boots on the ground at Iris, and it's stuff that we're really predicting will come in the next year or two for the industry. Good news for everyone, the prices are dropping. In 2017, the full package that was the computer and the headset was about $4,000. In 2018, it's now $3,000. Already, since the start of 2018, some more headsets have dropped in price, some computers have dropped in price. So we are seeing this new technology starting to have the prices drop. The line between AR and VR is blurring. You probably saw in my slide where I broke down the headset timeline. I didn't differentiate by AR and VR. AR is augmented reality, so you get an overlay in your real world of a digital object, and VR is essentially fully immersive. The headsets that are coming are really blending these together, and that's good news for us because it means that over time you won't really need to specify which experience you want. Headsets will offer both. And then this is the one where I'm reaching a little bit, but work with me on this one. So if anyone has played World of Warcraft or any video games back in the day, video games have been doing this for a long time, where there's an idea of these online games where you can share in a digital world. But what's really important about these digital worlds is if you log out or you shut down your machine, they keep functioning, and they sort of have a shared persistent environment that people can tie into. So there's a lot of precedence in gaming for this idea of a shared persistent digital environment that exists even when you're not in it. And to illustrate this, I'll show you what we're working on at Iris. This is our multi-user technology. And this is multiple people in different offices coming into a shared BIM model that they are now coordinating around in this digital environment. And the reason this is following the trend of gaming and these online games is if someone makes a markup, or if someone makes an edit, or if someone changes something or leaves a comment, and then they leave the session, when they come back in a day later, or if a colleague comes in a day later, that environment still has those edits, and that environment remembers what's been done in that world. And of course, right now, this is the early days, so this is VR, but we see this applying to AR as well, applying to all future immersive technologies where people can coordinate on one centralized model that persists over time. And that will land us in a place in the future where the real-life job site, your digital model, both back of house and on the job site, will be synchronized, and you'll be able to wear your immersive headset on the job site or in the office and have this really be an overlay in your digital workflow. So what to leave you with, keep pushing the boundaries of immersive technology. We're really excited to see AEC pushing virtual reality and augmented reality more than any other industries. And as you start adopting this, get your teams in to start collaborating at a one-to-one scale, and give us feedback, because we're excited to see where this is going. Thank you.
Thanks, Shane. Thank you, Shane. Excellent.
All right,
Actually,
thank you.
hand that to them back there.
Oh,
Thank you.
there's a lot going on.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay. All right, I think it's pretty clear that it's only a matter of time before AR and VR is going to be an everyday reality in the AEC industry. You can put that on your next slide, quoted by Lynn Allen. All right, since we're making up quotes and putting them up there.
Yeah.
Anyway. Well, he claimed it. That's what he said.
Well, we look forward to our next presenter as well. I had mentioned that HKS was on stage last year around the US Bank Stadium project, some of the design challenges and technologies they used to complete that project on such a short timeline. And we work at CTC very closely with HKS. We've talked a lot about what they're doing and how their use of technology is changing, not only how they accomplish work, but also their internal conversations. We asked them to present again this year, and we're very pleased to have Vicki and Reeti with us.
So Reeti Gupta is the Director of Practice Technology and a BIM Manager at HKS, based out of their Atlanta office. We appreciate her flying in for this. Reeti has 17 years of professional experience and has a unique ability to visualize complex forms and geometry in designs where she interweaves art, architecture, and technology. Reeti brings her expertise in using BIM within comprehensive, large-scale projects.
And co-presenting is Vicki Patel as well. She's currently the Practice Technology Manager and firm-wide BIM Manager at HKS, and she's based out of the Dallas office. She has 12 years architectural experience and currently works with the regional BIM managers to develop the strategic plan outlining their BIM implementation. Some of her recent work, as you will see, has been focused on providing project teams and firm leadership with real-time model analytics and performance trends.
All right, so please welcome to the stage, Reeti and Vicki. Big round of applause, please.
Good morning, everyone. So thank you very much for giving us the opportunity, CTC, to be able to present this morning. This is our second year at Midwest University. And we are very, very excited about what we've learned so far and today's experience moving forward. So I'm going to give a little background about HKS and Practice Technology as a group. It's going to be really short. HKS as a design firm was started 77 years ago. We have 24 offices worldwide and have designed the largest, some of the largest hospitals and luxurious hotels around the world. And we've also designed the Viking Stadium. I think it's been said 3 times already, so I'll keep it to that. HKS reflects a history of innovation, and we are very lucky to be a part of that team where we are pushing that forward. And with its global presence, we have so many unique and talented designers. We actually shape the world where millions come to live, learn, work, heal, and play. We believe in creating places that enhance the human experience. Within HKS, Practice Technology was created to further that path. We are at a crossroads where we need to understand the real importance of the eye in BIM, the role of data in design, how we interpret that data, what we do, and research on it, how we collect the information and map it to different functions, create informed design. We want to innovate new spaces and really foster the energies of our designs towards a built environment. Practice Technology is a group of highly talented BIM professionals and technology professionals. Our major focus areas are in BIM management, obviously, and we are very well connected firm-wide, right from our end users to leadership. We maintain our design resources. We provide learning and development opportunities and support. We also help our end users create immersive experiences using virtual reality and augmented reality. We ensure processes that allow for building performance analysis on all our projects. Our vision is to connect the design practice at all phases to the most efficient workflows and processes by providing the right set of tools and education. In order to further our vision, we are embarking on the data intelligence journey. We have so much data and technology right here on our wrists that we are collecting our heart rate every second. And that is our personal data, our personal metrics. HKS also has so many projects and we have so much data. We need to capture that data and combine it from our models and our other project information databases to be able to visualize them and create greater impact. A couple years ago, I heard this TED Talk, which is one of the most watched TED Talks of Hans Rosling, and he said, let the data set change your mindset. The examples he provided made a huge impact on my mind. Data is only useful when we ask the right questions, when we use the right tools, and are able to visualize it for a larger impact. So we are changing our mindset. We have envisioned a data-driven process and categorized into 5 sections. We've got data-driven decisions, data-driven planning, design, support, and culture. Let's look at data-driven decisions and how HKS has been using it already. There is a design intelligence system that we have envisioned where we take raw data and parse it through to create project wisdom. This reduces rework and provides quality information to all our project stakeholders. We think a design intelligence system cannot be linear. It has to be a cyclical process that will evolve with time and need for change. So we started using the analysis and the data that we've acquired and worked with the Construction Industry Institute. They have helped us take internal and external data for the purpose of benchmarking our projects in healthcare. The output that we received was based on a quartile chart analysis for all the metrics that mattered. Some of the metrics that they've measured with us are support area per unit and net to gross factor, unit area per bed. Let's take a look at the patient room size. The client's patient rooms was compared with about 50 other projects worldwide. The room size lies within the interquartile range, which is within the middle 2 blocks. That indicates that the rooms are sized appropriately compared to similar facilities. Other studies we did internally compared the growth of inpatient units and typical patient room sizes from 1986 to 2004, where we've clearly seen that the sizes have grown. This dashboard was created for department leadership. Leaders can see key metrics for current periods as well as over time in order to analyze department performance. By using graphs and tables on a single view, the dashboard provides users flexibility in how they want to consume the data. They can move over any of these bar charts and graphs and get granular detail if desired. So a lot of our model data is really rapidly changing. It has a large speed, and it's very variable. How can we tap at it at any given time and obtain what we need to look at? Analytics gives us real-time fluctuations that allow us to see areas and needs for expansion and where our users are needing training. A good data visualization offers insight and makes the light bulb go off. Visualization also offers interaction with the data. So we're very keen on moving forward with doing some good visualization for data analytics and be able to get trends, business intelligence, data exploration, optimization, and prediction. Data-driven planning was something we launched about 2 years ago, not knowing that data analytics is going to be a big thing. At the time, our designs were created using lots of technologies like computation and BIM, but it's not just geometry. It's the embedded information that is present in our models. We annotate our drawings and supplement our documents with specifications about our furniture, finishes, and all our building materials. That is all essentially data. So we thought about creating this data-centric process such that we have an automated single repository. We use multiple tools and processes, and we create all this data at various stages of a project. So we created this common HKS database using Derofis. We were handed a spreadsheet, and this was a proof of concept, again, 2 years ago for Piedmont Hospital in Atlanta. And we were just handed a spreadsheet with multiple tabs of 200,000 square feet of program. Well, all of us have seen that, right? Lots and lots of data in rows and columns. So we took a stab at visualizing that Excel spreadsheet in a different form and created a function program structure. So we had 4 major departments, which branched into sub-departments and later branched into units. And each unit had multiple rooms in it. Some of these rooms are common, so we created room data sheets and room templates and assigned it to those rooms. This was very powerful. Durofus also gave us the ability to validate the program by comparing it against by comparing the programmed area versus the designed area. And these were automated dashboards on their web app, and that was just amazing because at a high level, now we could see how the project was progressing. So we thought to ourselves, how can we get further into the granular detail of where the rooms are in the sub-departments and the units? So we took the rooms database and exported it, back into Excel, because at the time, that was what I knew. I was like, OK, I can create some pivot charts by just creating a pivot data table and be able to see how the project is performing. And that's when we thought, oh, wow, this is amazing, because our project managers can now get a glimpse of how the team is performing. So why don't we do more and take all the Revit parameters and create visualizations or graphs to visualize them in either Power BI or Tableau? So let's imagine for a second. I mean, I've gone through a lot of slides here, but as people, as who we are, let's imagine who we are. What comes to your mind when you think of an architect? You know, the black on black with round eyeglasses, that's what comes to my mind. Someone like this. What happened? The architect came in, created these wonderful buildings, historic, our architecture is beautiful, all hand-drawn. We then enter the whole CAD and BIM era, and then we do these numerous models within each project. Now we need someone to model and manage those models. So comes the BIM manager. Now, I'm sure there's lots of BIM managers out here, and nobody would disagree with me that we all have superpowers. So with these superpowers, we have to move into the next step. And I'm calling this, let's be the next data detective. So we're going to be the ones having a cave, playing with bar charts and graphs, understanding what to read, what not. So I'd like to ask my friend here, Vicki, let's create a new normal for these BIM managers so that we can do our work better by measuring the metrics on the things we manage, that is our tools and processes. Let's be that data detective, and let's use data as the new soil to lay our foundations for the buildings we design and build.
Well, thank you, Reeti. Those are some intriguing questions you asked. And before I go into talking about this new norm for BIM managers, I'd like to share one more aspect of data at HKS. When you asked us to envision that architect, I actually saw the faces of our fellow colleagues at HKS, and I saw how they've made data-driven design integral to our process. This is because HKS believes in the philosophy of responsible design, a philosophy that revolves around the quality of our thinking combined with our technical expertise in order for us to create designs that integrate both beauty and performance. It's a systems-driven thinking. The elements of our design are deliberate, they're integrative, and they're absolutely innovative. We believe that design should rejuvenate and uplift our clients, design teams, communities, investors, and the environment, our stakeholders. Seeing these stakeholders as vested partners requires a different approach that can develop potential for all, a data-driven approach. To showcase the strides we've made by incorporating this philosophy, I can't think of a better example than one of our very own HKS offices, HKS Chicago Living Lab. Our Chicago office just relocated into this new facility, one that truly combines beauty and performance. During the design process, our co-creators looked at many metrics, from energy, cost, and ultimately our carbon footprint. In order to measure and validate our metrics against our design goals, we incorporated a tenant, energy, and environmental management system. We also looked at the personality and well-being of our employees. In order to achieve a "we are better together" office culture, prototype participants were selected. These volunteers were a myriad of individuals who either worked together on teams, they were mobile workers, had a diverse personality spectrum, and were considered early adopters to new ways of working. The results of this study helped lay out the workspace and drive the desired culture. Honestly, to me, this is really exciting, to be here talking about how HKS not only designs buildings for our clients with a responsible design mindset, but to be able to say that we utilize that same thinking on our own spaces. It's such an honor. The Chicago Living Lab is just one example of data-driven design at HKS. So, Reeti, you asked another question earlier. Envision the BIM manager. This question struck a chord with me. As you know, but many in the audience probably don't know, I recently transitioned into this role of a full-time BIM manager. If you would have asked me 2 years ago, I would have had a very different answer. But today, this is what I see. I see a person with many skills, a person who has a hand for every act, a person who's always looking to solve the next problem, and a person who doesn't have enough hours in the day to solve these problems. When I stepped into this role, it was eye-opening for me. Although I did make the transition, the one part of the role that I found the most challenging was the support side. The inability to provide fast, reliable solutions for project teams when their Revit model had speed issues, when I couldn't tell them why the performance of their model was suffering, and ultimately when I couldn't answer questions such as, "Why is my model crashing?" I became highly frustrated, honestly a bit deflated. I wasn't frustrated because I couldn't provide the solutions. It just required a lot more time. I would have to manually inspect the model, element by element, and then combine it with our knowledge. And although I may have the time to complete this thorough inspection, the project team didn't. They're working on billable projects towards deadlines, ultimately affecting the profitability at HKS. This is when we stepped back and thought to ourselves, we're working with building information models. After all, they're just a bunch of ones and zeros in our ecosystems, a bunch of bytes that we as technologists can find a way to analyze. We came up with this thesis. If our decisions, planning, and design can be data-driven, then our support model and practice technology should be data-driven. We should be able to gather data from different devices our employees use to generate their designs and models, house this data in a central location, and provide visual reports that can function as early detection systems for our project teams. The goal being to provide a proactive support model. This sounded great in theory, but we were forgetting one thing. We're not data scientists. We had the slightest knowledge of data science, which meant one thing. As BIM managers, we'd increase our skills by one more, because having this data would just help increase our knowledge and ultimately help us improve our process and workflows. So we started down this path. We started with a pilot, knowing that there's going to be many iterations of testing and refining. Our first attempt at this was manual data mining with the use of Dynamo and Excel. We were able to generate reports, providing us the relevant information to diagnose a model. But this option was not fully scalable. It was just too manual. Fortunately for us, this was around the same time we were here at MU last year and learned about CTC's data suite. With their help and learning some of the basics of Power BI and Tableau, we started the automated data mining process and were able to create real-time dashboards for consumption. Now we were asking ourselves, is this data proving to be helpful? Are we able to provide solutions to our project teams quicker than before? Well, exactly 2 weeks ago, as I was putting together screenshots for this presentation, I got an email from a project team concerned with their save times. Luckily, this team was part of our pilot, so I immediately pulled up the dashboard and started to investigate. I first looked at our company summary and noticed that the project in question ranked #1 in file size at over a gig. That was flag #1. I secondly checked the maximum save times for the whole company, and although there were some spikes, it wasn't an overall increase. Next, I dove into the details for that particular project and found that their hotel model was the largest contributor to that file size. I checked the overall save times again for the project and did not notice any strange spikes, but what I did notice was the number of warnings, the inconsistent Revit build versions, and the large number of in-place families and unenclosed rooms. But I still needed more information. I looked into the details of each contributor on the file, and this is where I found the anomaly. Only one user was experiencing longer save times. So here I am at about 5 minutes into my inspection. Yes, just 5 minutes. And I had narrowed down the issue to one contributor. I started to look at each save cycle and compare the number of elements added, edited, and deleted to determine whether these save times were correlated with the amount of changes that this contributor made. In less than 30 minutes, I was able to send the team a diagnosis on their situation. I not only provided the team with the number of warnings, but I provided them with a list of the ones that we recommended resolving immediately. For us, as BIM managers, to have the ability to see these warnings without getting into the model, being able to sort and group them, and then even filter them down to the level or work set, that in itself proves that we're on the right track. So to answer your question, can BIM managers be data detectives? Yes, we've already started to forge the way.
That is just amazing. Incredible work, Vicki. So my light bulbs have definitely gone off. I'm sure a lot of people here are working with data-driven processes, and it's just amazing how much we can dig into our data and analyze and understand what is happening at a large scale. So all this is leading to data-driven culture, and we went over the data-driven decisions and how we can tap into multiple data sources, create insights, use data-centric planning, and leverage new tools to enhance our workflows. And we looked at all the data-driven support tools that we've used to analyze our Revit model data. We should be able to share our outcomes, improve our training, craft new skills and roles into the future. So at HKS, we are embracing this cultural shift with data and digital transformation. With data being so ubiquitous around us, seriously, we need to capture it before it captures us. So this is what we're going to do about data. We are going to create a data-driven culture. We are creating a hunger and appreciation for data within HKS. What are you going to do with your data? Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Good job. Thank you. Excellent. Well, thank you to all of our keynote speakers across both days. And it's always great to see how firms are taking the tools, especially this answer box that we've created, this BIM data suite, and coming up with the right questions to then improve their processes. So I know a number of our tools are being highlighted in different classes and sessions, or maybe even as a minor note in some of the sessions and workflow processes you guys are showing off throughout the 2 days. I know Populous likewise had a great class yesterday showing some of the ROI that they're getting out of our BIM data suite, and they're doing some really excellent work as well. So thank you to our presenters from HKS here. And really, that's an excellent transition to our next topic. Every year, we like to take just a few brief moments and in rapid fire succession, go through and show you guys what we've been working on this past year and kind of what we're up to. And to kind of get into the technical details, we'll have Brian and Sean from our team out momentarily. But I'll just step through and talk about a few things overall at our company. So because our clients have grown, we're in good demand, and that's a reflection of the work that we're trying to do for our clients. We're now over 50 people, and we'll continue to grow with our client base, obviously to keep a high level of service that our longtime clients have come to expect from us. We don't want to change who we are as we grow, so we've grown slowly, organically, taking on clients where we can, so we can continue to right-size our organization and focus in the right areas as well, and maintain that high level of service. We've, over the past year, become Autodesk Construction Specialized. And this is actually a big formal step for us with Autodesk. We actually worked with many of the tools in the Autodesk construction portfolio, Navisworks, Field and Glue, before Autodesk acquired those products. And this formalizes kind of our agreement with Autodesk and really their trust level with us that we can support and help those clients innovate on those platforms, especially as many of the new tools, which will be coming out here in the next week or two, kind of transitioning those tools to their new Forge platform. And we have some exciting developments around that as well. And among our new hires, we've continued to expand our consulting services. So we're doing a lot of construction completion reports with our UAV drone pilots. We have 2 FAA certified UAV pilots on staff. 3D printing, you see a lot of our work in AR and VR, kind of a little joint presentation. We actually have our booth with Corrigan, which is one of our clients here. You can check that out at our booth to kind of see 3D printing melded with augmented reality, kind of cool thing. So we're able to help our clients through client presentations and other services, or perhaps fill gaps in your workflows or technologies as needed. So definitely think of us in that regard and reach out to us. One thing that's definitely changed over the past couple of years, we've kind of become less known as CTC, like Autodesk reseller. And when we go to many events even, like when we go to Autodesk University as an example, we're going as CTC Express Tools. And you kind of see this kind of melding of our expertise and where we're going in the future. And we're really striving to become a software development leader within the industry. And that's actually led us to expand our development team. So we obviously have our CTC Express tools, and we do a ton of custom development. And as the platforms, and really the portfolio of products you guys are using broadens, there's additional gaps that need to be filled. And as many companies like Autodesk are going to software as a service and web-based tools, we have to be innovative and on top of things like Forge, right? Tying into our theme of Forge Ahead, that's an Autodesk web API system there. So we'll continue to expand our team as relevant, but we only build really what you guys tell us about. We need to be aware of what your issues are, what those workflow gaps are, and then we can take our expertise and work with your teams to figure out how we can best strategize, how we can use our resources to fill that for you guys. So really the line of constant communication is of value to us, and we hope to you guys through our offerings that we have. And so here's just a brief list of some of the custom development projects we've done aside from our public offerings. And these tools are varied in nature. Some among Civil 3D, some among BIM 360 Field, some in Revit, some in AutoCAD even for certain workflows. So definitely reach out to us, and this is why we've made this shift towards software development, because we saw a need, right, a gap in the industry, and we moved quickly to fill that years ago with creation of some of our Express tools, and we actually even see the future of the Autodesk partners, the resellers that are out there. Anybody can sell you the software, many of them train, support, things like that. But really, even Autodesk has said, if you listen to like their investor calls, the future Autodesk partners will be system integrators. They've said that. And so years ago, Saeed took our company and was investing to have offerings within this space and to build a team so we can be that system integrator. And so I give it to Saeed. He had the forethought to go out and partner with Revit before Autodesk bought them, partner with Navisworks, partner with Horizontal Glue, Vela Systems, right? And even our Express tools played into that vision of looking for what our clients would need next. But we're not mind readers, so definitely work with us. If there's gaps in your workflows, we want to hear about it. Because if you have that gap, other firms have that gap, and if we can help fill that, that's a service that we want to provide. We already have quite the public tool set, right? We have 5 different suites of different tools, a number of different content and productivity packages. And over the past year, we've been busy at work. We'll continue to add tools and update. And as a final takeaway, as I welcome Brian to the stage to show you some of this new stuff, I can't stress enough that we only build and fix what you guys tell us about. Well, as the theme calls out, Forge Ahead, and Brian, you have the stage.
Thank you, Oliver. Good morning, everyone. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about some of the stuff we've been doing for Civil 3D, some of the plugins we have for Civil 3D, and one of them is in a partnership we've been doing with Kimley Horn. We've been calling it Sheet Generator, and what this is about is addressing the creation of plan and profile sheets, and not just the creation of them, but more importantly, when you get all those design changes, how do you handle that with all these sheets you've cut? So here's a little video. how do I handle things like this? There's design changes, right? My alignment's moving, something like this. How do I push those changes? I can't do that right now to my layout. So we've built a whole tool set that recreates some of what Civil 3D does natively. I lay out my sheets in model space like this. I have detailed control on my viewports in model space in this way. And then I can control in mass all of my profile views, both the station ranges, the elevation ranges. I can even have overlaps on my station ranges, what we're calling buffers. And then just like the native tools, we can push all this stuff and generate all of our layouts, putting them in Sheet Set Manager, everything you would want from those native tool sets. But why did we do this? What's the point of this? It's editing, right? How many times do you do something like this? And then you have to go fix all of your sheets again. Well, with this tool, we can update all of our sheets automatically. You don't take all that time doing that tedious work of redoing those sheets. So something we're really excited about. There's a lot of other little features embedded in there that I'll be glad to talk to you guys about some more. The next tool, we're actually releasing this one today at Midwest University. We're calling it Pipe Designer, and this is about pipe networks in Civil 3D. You know, I think about pipe networks, and to me, these things are like glorified 3D blocks with a bunch of attributes in them. It's not really a design tool set. So what Pipe Designer is about taking pipe networks and allowing us to really design with them in the way we think about it. So with Pipe Designer, I can select a pipe run and profile, for example, and I get this spreadsheet interface. And I can set things like an invert drop across that whole run of pipes. And I hit apply, and it pushes to my entire pipe network. I can set slope in this way, hit apply, and push that to the entire pipe network. I can design by matching my inverts, by matching my crowns, a whole host of other settings that really make working with pipe networks a lot more efficient, a lot more intuitive. So a very cool tool we're excited about releasing. Like I said, it's available now in our Sim Project suite. We'd be glad to talk to you guys about it more afterwards. Another tool, this is in partnership with Bolton & Mank. This is, like Oliver said, a lot of our tools come from ideas that you guys bring to the table. And so we do a lot of these partnerships where we come together and we figure out how to best make this tool. And this one is called Data Wizard. And what this is about generation of legends or schedules, or just counting up or quantity takeoff of information in your drawing. And there's some tool sets like this in Civil 3D, but they're really kind of limiting. And so I don't have a video for you here because we just began programming on this, but I have a little mock-up of part of the interface here. And so what I'm going to be able to do is scan my current drawing, multiple drawings, XREFs, you name it, for all these types of objects, apply different filters, pull different attribute data out of all these different object types, and spit out things like legends, not just the data itself, but also the graphics, so line types, little symbology, things like this. So really cool stuff. I'd guess most of you guys are doing something like really manual kind of AutoCAD editing of these legends now, or you have just like these standard legends you throw in every project, right? And you've got drain tiles showing up on it, but there's no drain tile in your project, right? We want legends that are accurate, but we don't have to take a lot of time to work with them. So Data Wizard, it's a legend creator. It's also what I'd call a data miner. So it goes beyond just legends. It's extracting information. Those of you who have maybe used AutoCAD data extraction, think that, but for all your AutoCAD and Civil 3D objects. Works on symbol type entities, line type entities, all sorts of things. And like I said, it's not just the attribute data or the text, it's the graphics itself. So really helps with those legends. And I can go to tables right in my own drawings with this, or I can go right to Excel. Those tables themselves, they can even be updated, right? So if you add something more to your drawing, I need to update that legend, of course, right? There'll be a refresh table, rescan all that information, update those legends. So big time saver, something we're really excited about. A couple other ones I want to highlight here. I don't have a detailed video I'm going to show you here, but a couple releases in just the last few months. One's called Corridor Mapper. I talked a little bit about this last year, but we've been seeing a lot of firms start to embrace this, think about how they use this. It's a very cool tool. What Corridor Mapper is about is taking the target mapping in your corridors and automating this. Basically what we're doing is we're dynamically linking layers and subassemblies so that when you draw any target objects on any of those layers, they just automatically go into your corridor. So this is great for novice users who don't understand target mapping. and of course, advanced users who don't want to spend a lot of time setting all these targets in their complex corridors. So, in corridors, I say it's all about targeting, right? You can spend a lot of time. It's pretty error-prone, so it's pretty cool. Corridor merger, corridor splitter, these are what they sound like. Take any number of corridors, merge them together. Take a single corridor and split it apart. Maintain all those settings, targets, frequencies, all that stuff stays intact. So as those designs change, or perhaps you're just halfway through a project and you decide, I should break this up into 2 corridors, something different in that way. So lots of flexibility with those tools. And another one that's in the works right now, a survey template manager. This is really aimed at CAD managers, or those people who are managing the templates at your firms. And specifically in a survey template, you've got description key set and a figure prefix database, for example. Those are really tedious interfaces to work in. We're going to have those dynamically linked to an Excel spreadsheet where you can manage all that stuff in Excel with all of its intuitive functions and simply push those changes right to your survey template, or generate a description key set in the first place from an Excel spreadsheet. So very cool stuff we've got coming out, and we'd love to talk to you guys about it more after the fact. So that's all I have for you guys. I'm going to bring out Sean now, and he's going to talk to you about Revit Express tools. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brian. So, my name is Sean Zerbis, Technical Evangelist. Many of you have spoken with me and seen me on BIM Broadcast. If you haven't, sign up for BIM Broadcast. You should do that. I get to talk with you today about some of the wonderful building tools that we've been putting together. We're really excited about the civil tools that Brian just was talking about. Now we get to talk about the building side, the architecture and engineering side. One of the first tools that I want to talk with you about is this tool that's called Project Activity Logger. In fact, HKS was just talking about it up on stage and how they used it. It's a really powerful tool set. It's amazing the information that you can grab. It really helps you expand upon your BIM management superpowers. Imagine, if you will, you yourselves can sit down. It's not just the large companies like HKS. You can sit down yourselves and you can get this information available. So you can track things like corporate-wide metrics, project-specific information, other types of data. In fact, here in this case, if I want to take a look at a particular project, I can start seeing data about the largest file sizes, the number of warnings, how much time is spent inside of them, which users are spending time on these models, how much time they spend, how many elements they've edited, and I can just quickly, at a glance, see this. And this is all byproduct data from users just natively working throughout their day. I can also see information here about the actual models themselves. So I can go to a specific project, I can see the individual models, I can start seeing the exact properties inside of them, how many warnings, how many in-place families, just on the fly. I can take a look at things like warnings by level. You saw some of that earlier. I can take a look at how many views are in there. All kinds of information. This, again, gives you powerful insight into what's going on in the health of your models. So super critical. You can drill down to exact metrics about how long open and save times are taking, how big the models themselves are, the warnings, and how this is changing over time. Because you can open up a model yourself right now and check the open and save time for yourself. But how does it affect everybody? How does this change over time? Is it ramping up? Are you starting to see crazy spikes? Is it becoming consistently slower? Or is it just emotive because somebody feels they were in the office late and they're like, oh, it feels like it's taking longer, but it's not really. You can prove it with actual mathematics, just the data. You can take some of those save properties and drill real deep into it. Again, I can click on one of these bars. I can take a look at a specific save point in time and see exactly the user who was on it, the computer specs that they were using. I can see the exact model data, again, from the previous tab, but I can see it here as well about that specific save. I can even isolate the users, as you saw with what HKS was doing. I can see specific users, which models they're investing their time in. So if I have a brand new user who maybe hasn't had a lot of Revit training and they're working on my models, I want to know where they're investing their time so I know where I should invest my time. Or if I have a really experienced Revit user, I can trust maybe that they know what they're doing and I can maybe leave those models a little bit more alone. And again, the ability to see your warnings on the fly for any model at any point in time. You can just kind of review that, get reports, and filter this down to whatever level is meaningful to you. So once again, this isn't something you have to actively go after. You don't have to write Dynamo scripts. You don't have to try and parse through a bunch of slog files and copy them over to your system. You can simply get the data at your fingertips, and when somebody has a problem, or even proactively go into these spreadsheets or these Power BI reports and just take a look. What's going on? What's the health across my network? What's the health of these models? And instead of playing firefighter all the time, putting out fires and chasing your tail, trying to, spray water on the problem, whatever the problem might be, you can now play forester and you can pre-trim the garbage that's going to cause these problems before they become a problem. So instead of playing fix-it, you're playing maintenance a little bit, which is a lot less time-consuming. The next tool that I want to talk about here is a tool called Invisibility Advisor. We all have this bit of an issue. There are nearly 60 different reasons, 58 to be exact, why an element in the Revit model environment might not be visible. In this case, I've got a simple floor plan here. It's a finished plan on the left and a code plan on the right. And I want to see the furniture because maybe I want to do some pathing analysis and I want to see what obstacles might be in the way in the case of an emergency. So I'm going to go over to Visibility Graphics and do something we all would do. I'm going to turn on the visibility for furniture. Simple, not a big deal. I would expect when I click OK, furniture shows up. Doesn't. So then I'm like, well, 57 different reasons I have to go check now. You guys go, well, you noob, turn on the reveal hidden elements because that'll show you the element at least. Doesn't show up. Now what? Now I'm at a loss. So now I have to start digging through all of those different reasons and maybe coach a new user why this is happening, right? They've already spent an hour trying to figure this out and then I'm going to call you up. So this is where the Invisibility Advisor can come into play. What I can do is simply open this dialog. If I can find the element in any view in my project, and even sometimes if you can't, you can do a select by crossing and you'll find all the elements in that area. But I can select these objects. Now my favorite way is to pick the element and just say show just that in my selection drop-down list up at the top, and it'll give me that object in that list. At the bottom of this window, you can say, which view are you having troubles with? Well, in my case, it's going to be that code plan that I'm trying to solve this invisibility within. And I don't want to do it manually because I don't know how many reasons there are for this thing not showing up. So I'm going to tell it to solve for this. And when I do that, I tell it to solve. In fact, you can see here, it's actually got the element selected. Revit can see it, but for whatever reason, in its infinite wisdom, it doesn't feel like showing it to me. So I'm going to tell it to tell me why it's not showing up. And the Invisibility Advisor will run through all the different reasons possible for why it might not show up. In this case, filters, view ranges, work sets, they're all causing me problems. I can either fix it directly, just click the button and have it try to do what it thinks is best to fix it, which might work, or I can tell it to show it to me, and if I show it, then it'll try to open up the dialog box that might control that setting. And I can look at this and I can go, well, somebody made some kind of a crazy filter called furniture and they turned it off. So it's not just visibility graphics. They really didn't want to see furniture in this model, all right? Maybe what I really intend to do is show it, but show it halftone, so I can turn that on. Now here's the real problem. When I click OK here, it doesn't resolve it yet. And what a lot of your users will do is they'll undo what they just did because they don't want to screw up the rest of the view, so then they'll turn it back off again because, well, that didn't fix it, so let's go to something else. But a lot of these things are compound issues, multiple things that stack. So now what I can do is I can say, well, what about the view range here? I'm just refresh this to kind of check and see if that resolved that one thing. It did in this case. So I can see the view ranges here. That might be a problem. I can expand it out and have it tell me a bit about what's the actual controls here. And in this case, I'm going to be a little lazy. I'm just going to tell it to fix it. I don't want to go to the dialog box. I don't want to change any numbers. I just want it to do it. Now, this is a dangerous thing, and it warns you about that. Like, this might affect many things. If you're screwing with view ranges, you might see a lot more than you wanted, but it's going to try to fix that. Now, again, I don't see it just yet because there's yet another thing that's controlling the invisibility of this object. And there's one final thing, which is the work sets that happens to be told to be invisible in this view. So again, I'm just going to fix it. And when I do this, it will then show me that element on screen. But I didn't have to dig through all of the other reasons that might have been a problem. Sometimes common, sometimes uncommon. But this can be a huge time saver. So now I'm seeing the furniture in that view. I can do the thing that I wanted to do, and I could go back and possibly reset a view template or do whatever it was I wanted to do. But this can help you in a massive way. Fix these things significantly faster. Okay?
Welcome to Midwest University.
Go home, Sophia, you're drunk. She partied too hard last night, apparently. All right. This tool we talked about last year, it was about ready for release. MEP, the MEP Productivity Pack. this tool set, if you're an MEP user of Revit and you are still a little bit struggling with some of the issues of Revit and MEP, there's some really powerful things here. 5,000 man-hours went into developing this, 2,400 parameters. It has tons of view templates ready to go, all cross-discipline. This thing has live legends for both electrical and for the HVAC and plumbing side. Real tags, real objects in the view. When you update them or the graphics, they update the view automatically or automagically. Tons of analytical views, so your engineers get design assist while they're working. So instead of having to pull out calculators, they can actually click on these elements and just go to the view and see the live feedback. And the last one that was just up there was auto-sizing objects. You make one simple change to an air terminal or some other element, and it automatically trickles upstream and doesn't just communicate airflows or other flow properties. It actually resizes the equipment in line to respond to that based on manufacturer input. So this can save you tons of time and tons of rework. Now, of course, as an engineer, you don't want a system like Sophia thinking for you. You want to be able to override this, and so we've got overrides built in. As an engineer, you can say, I want this to be this other value that isn't perhaps what it thinks it should calculate, but I want to choose that, and it'll let you do that. So if you haven't seen that yet, I encourage you to take a look at that. This is the final tool set that I want to talk with you about today, Hive. What's the buzz around Hive? You saw many of us wearing the shirts last night. You see a lot of the CTC guys today wearing the Hive shirts right now. What is Hive? Hive is a tool that we're incredibly excited about because it's one of our first multi-discipline tools. It crosses all disciplines, all responsibilities in a company, potentially, depending on how you use it. It is a content management solution. This was built based on client feedback, and people say, content management, it's kind of a gray area, it's kind of vague. What exactly is that? Well, let's make it real to all of you. I mean, we've got civil engineers in here, we've got civil techs, we've got architects, we've got designers, mechanical, electrical, plumbing engineers, all in the room. And all of you can leverage this because if you're working in AutoCAD, this tool can manage your blocks. If you're working in Civil 3D, it can manage your custom subassemblies. Well, not yet, that's coming, but we'll talk about that. It has the ability to take a lot of that data and it can read that information in. If you're working in Revit, family data. It can take your warehouse files. It can combine them into the system and you can read wall types, floor types, duct types, pipe types, whatever you want. Users can search for this information based on those objects' properties, and then bring it into their design environment. You work with SketchUp? Great, find SketchUp content. You want materials? Fine, find the JPEGs. Drag and drop right into your design environment. So that's the reason for Hive here. Now, we don't right now have an AutoCAD, well, I shouldn't say AutoCAD. It works with AutoCAD, but it doesn't fully work with tools like Civil 3D or AutoCAD Architecture, AutoCAD MEP, Plant 3D, because those are Autodesk verticals. We're working on that, that's coming soon. But I want to kind of show you a quick little demo of this tool, and then I encourage you to go take a look at it in the exhibit hall before we close. In fact, BIM broadcast, shameless plug, sign up for it, come on. So Hive has a specific user interface here. It has a user login. It's based on your email address. Everybody's going to be unique. It has a simple search ability, and you can see here I'm searching and I'm finding things like PDFs. It could be help documents. It could be training videos. It could be project procedures. It could be anything. I can specifically search for Revit objects, in this case, doors, and it'll find it. I can also discover, so if you want to search based on the properties of an object and say, I want to find any object that has a width of such and such, it'll help you navigate to and find those objects. It has a request system built in. It kind of breezed right past it, but it has a request system built in, so you can actually manage a request. Users can submit requests and content. You can then manage that. It has libraries to organize this information, so you can control who sees what and how they can interact with it. Company information, tagging management, users and user groups, and of course, an about dialog box. What program is complete without an about dialog box? But this one's really critical. You know how many of you that are using our RETs today, when there's an update, you have to be told, hey, there's an update, or you have to read our newsletter and go, I got an update, and you have to install it. This new tool set here, Hive, will actually inform you if you're up to date when you go to the About tab, and actually when you log in, you have an option to say, let me know if I'm up to date. And then there's also an option, if you want to enable this, you can disable it at a corporate level, but you can tell it to automatically just update. So when you go to log in, it goes, oh, there's a new version, cool, update. And then it almost immediately pops back up, and you're logging in and searching your content on the latest version. So incredibly powerful system here. Again, just let me recap. It handles any file type. This is not software specific. It is completely agnostic. If you can browse to it in Windows, you can put it into Hive, search for it, and consume it how you'd like. Powerful filtering. You can search for any object based on any property that is associated to it. File types, who created it, whatever, Revit properties, anything. Cross-library search, which is critical. Those of you in the audience who have worked with BIMlist, one of our other tools that we have, it's a Revit-specific content management system. You're kind of locked down to a specific database when you want to search. And that might be a little bit frustrating because you might have content in other libraries that you want to go for. In Hive, we've listened to that feedback. You can search across all libraries. This can be cloud-hosted, or it can be offline. Now that's important too, because there's other systems out there in the market, and some force you to be only cloud. You have to be cloud. And some don't do any cloud at all. Well, we wanted to give you the option on the fly. Do you want this to be cloud? Do you want it to be offline? You can check the box, uncheck the box, and it manages that for you. And again, like I mentioned, we have a Revit add-in, so there is one that's specific to Revit right now, and we're working on the Civil 3D side and the other Autodesk vertical side to handle some of that systems-based content. So looking forward to that, and some of your feedback, of course, as well with this. So I want to turn this back over to Oliver and let him come back out and give you some housekeeping things, and then let you guys go to classes. Thank you, Oliver.
Yep. So at the outset of today, I mentioned we'd have an announcement about Hive. Well, some of you have been our beta testers for Hive, and we greatly appreciate the feedback you've given us. This has been a couple years in the making for us. We've had BIMlist on the market publicly, BIMlist Cloud Server as well, different modules there. And through our interactions with BIMlist and our clients using that, we gathered a ton of feedback. This, watching how the industry is moving, other tools in the content management space, we really wanted to come out with something that was truly game-changing, breaking the rules, over the top good. And the feedback that we're getting from our beta testers is we're ready for prime time now. And to ensure that we're ready for prime time, one of the things that we wanted to do is if you are a subscriber with CTC, you get Hive for first year for free. So we want you to go back, put it in place. We will help you put it in place. We will have a number of launch webcasts, walk you through the setup, how it ties in with Active Directory so members are permissioned appropriately. We want you guys to use this. It's our open launch stress test for Hive, and we want your guys' feedback as we continually move. Sean talked a little bit about some of the things we're doing in the future with Hive, and we need that from you. So it's our little gift to you, but it's somewhat selfish because we want you guys to get into it, use it, and give us feedback so we can improve it. So if you subscribe to Autodesk products through CTC, you have Hive. You don't have to worry about it. There's no limit on seat count. Contact your account representative. And in fact, we'll be reaching out to you most likely because we want your feedback once again. So thank you again. Couple quick housekeeping things. We actually have those Hive t-shirts for everybody that you saw the CTC guys wearing, so you can pick those up at registration. Just swing by anytime today and grab that. Stay tuned for email updates from us and watch your app for any updates for the remaining days event. So thank you again for attending Midwest U 2018 and have a great day. Thank you.